How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid. We ended up having a big time sell off inside of the market. And if you guys remember in the previous videos, I told you about the gap that we have to the downside, which when we got to around $24.17 and then pulled back even more, there were a lot of opportunities for you guys to take advantage of, especially when it had that pop. I know many of you have sent me messages saying, hey Dre, thank you for telling me not to buy into Lucid as of yet. It's better to be patient, and that's what I want to emphasize, but I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $23.97, being down 6.04%. On the low, it tested $23.80, and then on the high, testing $26.19. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 26.865 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 26.371 million shares. So we pretty much had average trading volume on the day, but we ended up seeing a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 32.44. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 50-day, the 200-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And like I've said in previous videos, we have been on a downtrend and Lucid is in a bear market. And since we did have a strong sell-off inside of the market today, like I said previously, we had a gap that we needed to fill and we filled that in nicely. Now, as far as more downside is concerned, inside of the after hours at the time of this recording, it's saying it's at $23.94. So if we see a further pullback going into tomorrow, then I want to see if we're going to be able to hold up at least around $23.22. If you're looking for a reversal now, of course, the high of the day was around $26.19. So you want to see some price action going above this level. If not, then this downtrend will continue. We also have to take into consideration of the fact the $28 area and the 200-day moving average, which has served as a resistance area for Lucid for quite some time. So if you do see a test here and it gets rejected again, that's why I'm saying it continues to look bearish. And we do have earnings that is coming out on February the 28th. And that's part of the reasons why I think it's going to take a whole lot of buying pressure to turn this price action around. So now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for February the 23rd, we have Simplex Trading LLC that purchased 2,701 shares. We also have Just Invest that purchased 18,602 shares. We also have a call here with the value of over 1.728 million shares, and we also have Cornerstone Advisors LLC that purchased 3,175 shares. We also have CMUX that purchased 44,821 shares, and we also see again for CUSUX that purchased 27,297 shares, and then we have Resources Investment Advisors LLC that purchased 5,711 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, for the off-exchange short volume ratio, it's at 63.74%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 8.07 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 29 minutes ago. And then when we take a look at the short borrow fee rate, on the minimum of the day, it was at 7.15, and on the highs of the day being at 8.39, and that's where we actually have for the latest, which was 29 minutes ago. And then when we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the 18th, it was at 61.73, and then for the close of the 22nd, being at 63.74. So what this shows us, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow it's at 83.84, and then on the outflow it's at 130. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 1.74. On the medium it was 50.98, and then on the small it was 31.12. Keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 4.74. On the medium it was 86.17, and then on the small it was 39.55. And then when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, February the 23rd, it being that outflow of 3 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying, which contributed to an overall outflow day. No surprise due to the conditions we had. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.64%. So this is still not too bad for Lucid. And the reason being is we had a lot of selling pressure that was happening, but what we see, there are still many who are holding on to their positions. And plus on top of that, even though there was a lot of selling, we still had some people who are buying in. So now let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, now that we've already filled the gap to the downside, I still see a lot of selling pressure to come. They do have earnings that is coming up, and I know many, since we did have the recent news in regards to the recall, are going to be looking at this play and they're going to be paying very close attention to the earnings. And if they end up disappointing, like we've seen with other companies, when they disappoint, there could be a strong pullback. So that's why I'm saying before then, will Lucid get down to around $21, $22? There's a very strong possibility of that. And as far as what it's going to be after earnings, it's just going to depend on whether you're bullish or whether you're bearish. But I do know if the results don't turn out being good, this stock will go under $20. And as far as if you want to see a reversal in this play, it needs to get back above $28. It already broke out of the channel that it was in, and it was already in a bear market as well. So again, as far as for the technicals, it's not looking strong whatsoever. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potential. Plus, on top of that, when we took a look at the recent institutional ownership, we see institutions have continued to load up on shares. No surprises there, because like I was saying quite a while back, when Lucid went into the NASDAQ 100, institutions started buying in a lot. And this is part of the reasons why, since we see the market going down, institutions are exiting, and this is why we're seeing the stock pull back. There's only so much retail investors can do to actually keep that stock price afloat, and this is why you have to make sure you're paying attention to where the big money is going. And for all of my traders out there, you've been able to really bank some serious profits, especially if you were able to capitalize on the downside and on that gap, what I was talking about. And for my long-term investors, please just continue to be patient. I know what you're saying, Dre, I got my money waiting on the side. I want to get into a position. But I'm like, you know what? Let's see how the earnings turn out. Because if the earnings don't turn out good, then you can get this stock even at a better price. And another point that I want to bring to your attention, remember when I was telling you guys to make sure you keep those EV plays on your watch list? Take a look at Tesla today. It had a major pullback. So what do you think would happen with other plays in the EV sector, especially for a stock like Lucid? Yes, we did experience this as a market as a whole, but I've been emphasizing this over and over again. So you should have been prepared for this, and you should not have been surprised whatsoever. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.